Welcome to the second episode of My Favorite Failure. These are stories of success and lessons learned. And today, my guest is Whitney Gladden, our very own Mrs. Mississippi America. Whitney, thank you for joining me.
I'm so excited to be here. I didn't know I was the second episode.
Second one.
You are starting out with a bang.
I am. I got had the pleasure of sitting down with Mr. Bob McCain, owner of Buffalo Peak Outfitters, for my first one. And I was thinking, who's going to be the next one? And you popped in my head because you have so much going on, and I see it going on. And it's just super impressive, the things, the stuff that you accomplish. And I wanted to kind of dive into how you do it.
Well, we could be here for a really long time, but
Well,
I know we have a plan.
Right. We'll try to keep it digestible. First off, I think we should thank Jordan Dotley and West of 55 for hosting us. You want to give a little rundown of what she's doing here?
Oh man, Jordan has been a dear friend for years, and she had an online space with West of 55, and she opened this store not long ago, and it is absolutely gorgeous. When you walk in, the architecture is just impeccable. It is a beautiful atmosphere, but also some of the latest trends, but also classic pieces that women can come in of all ages, all shapes and sizes can find something here, and it is beautiful.
It is an impressive space. I actually have a client I'm working with right now. Do you know Andrew or Melissa Wareham?
I don't.
Okay, so Andrew is opening up the Mississippi Man in this building right next door. And
No kidding.
It's a men's grooming and salon, or men's grooming and lounge is what it's called. The Mississippi Man, men's grooming and lounge. And they're going to open right there. He's going to have 4 to 6 chairs, and then he's going to have a back part with a bar and a pool table.
What a perfect thing to be right here.
Yep. So that's been fun. I've worked with him since him and his wife decided they wanted to do it. And he kept mentioning Jordan and West 55 and near that building. I didn't realize it was going to be in it. Mm-hmm. So I've been working with him on his branding and his logo and website and marketing materials for about 6 months now. And they're finally about to make a go at it. So,
that is so exciting. What a cool concept.
Yeah. It's been pretty fun to work on. So we're halfway through 2021. I guess we made it through the mess and we're kind of coming out of it now. What have you been up to?
Well, I've been busy.
Seems like you're always busy.
Well, back in June of 2020, I was the quarantine queen. I won Mrs. Mississippi America on Father's Day of 2020, and that's really what I've been up to for the past year is preparing for nationals.
Mm-hmm.
We went to Mrs. America at the end of March, so now I'm only a couple of months out from that and preparing to help put on the next state pageant, which will be at the end of July this year.
So what will that entail?
Well, we're finding hotels and venues and sponsors.
Mm-hmm.
We are looking for people to cater lunches and really just kind of help us out with treating the contestants like royalty. We want to show them what it's like to be a Mississippi queen, and I think that we're going to do it. We are planning to have it definitely in the central Mississippi area. I'm working with a lot of Madison vendors right now to see if we can work something out to have the whole thing in Madison. I would absolutely love that because that's where I'm from, and I just want to highlight that.
Yeah, been here since '91 myself.
It's a great place.
It really is. It's home. So before we get into all your accomplishments and the tremendous success that you've had over the past few years, I'm excited that we get to start with your favorite failure, which began with you going to law school.
Yes.
And then practicing law and deciding that just wasn't for you, which had to have been a huge decision. But tell me why leaving law is your favorite failure.
Well, when I decided to go to law school, it was sort of one of those things. I woke up one day and realized I was a personal trainer. I did some editing for different little newspapers and magazines on the side, but I didn't really have a goal or a focus in life. And I wanted to have a purpose. And I thought back on the things that I was good at, the things that I did really well on the ACT, which were English and writing and all of those kinds of things. And the practice of law seemed to be sort of down that road and on that path that I really enjoyed and did well at. And none of the stuff that brought my score down, like math or science. So I thought, well, maybe I'd be cut out for practicing law. So I just kind of looked into that. I looked at the LSAT to see if it was something that I felt like I could tackle, and ended up going to Mississippi College School of Law kind of on a whim. And when I got into the actual practice of law, it was very enjoyable in some aspects, but I knew that it was taking me away from my family. And when all of that was going on, my first couple of years of my law practice, I had 2 babies. And when you have babies, it changes your whole entire outlook on life.
So that kind of, it didn't overlap. You got into practicing law and then you started your family.
That's correct.
Okay.
I got married right before I graduated from law school because I wanted my husband's name to be on my diplomas. So we planned it that way. I got
Nice.
married just a few weeks before graduation, which was intense.
And did you and Lee both graduate together?
We didn't. He was already an attorney when I met him in my
Gotcha.
second year of law school. And, we like to say that mutual friends set us up, but that's really not true. We just googly-eyed each other across, the law firm and didn't tell anybody that we liked each other. But on my last day of my clerkship, he asked me out to the Mexican restaurant, and we have been inseparable ever since. That was December 5th, 2005. And then actually we got married in 2007, and our first child was born December 5th, 2008. Isn't that funny?
You know what's even funnier is my birthday is December 5th, 1984.
I mean,
here we are.
that is crazy.
It is crazy.
It's meant to be. We
It
were
is.
meant to do this interview.
As hard as it was for us to actually make this happen, I'm glad we did. I had to reschedule 3 times. And so, yeah, it's meant to be. Great opening. What made you ultimately make that leap? Like leaving everything that you worked, because what, had you had this 6 years invested in law so far? Or?
Almost 7. I practiced for almost 4 years, maybe a little over 4 years, and I was 3 years in law school before that. So it was a difficult decision. I had a lot of people looking at me saying, "You're crazy. You have all of this student loan debt. You have worked so hard to get here. You have such potential. Why in the world would you ever leave?" But I kept looking at those 2 babies thinking, I'm going to miss their entire childhood. And it just wasn't for me. So actually, I started one of those side gigs that people do, and it became very successful very quickly. In fact, within 6 months, I was making more with that side gig than I was practicing law, mostly because I enjoyed it more, but also it was a pretty lucrative opportunity. So that gave me the wherewithal to say, you know what, even if we have to eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for a while, I believe in this opportunity. I feel like I can make it grow. And I will do that. And after I left the law firm, I put my head down and went to work, and sure enough, it grew.
So that's kind of, you had some sort of a plan or something that you could leave law and immediately jump into.
Absolutely.
And dedicate yourself to as far as a career goes.
Certainly. And do I have some regrets about leaving law? Yes. I feel like I could have done a lot of good in that role. But I knew that I would have to sacrifice that personal relationship with my kids that I wanted to have so desperately. And I needed something just for me personally. I needed to be in a position that I could make an income, but also spend that time with them. And that's not for everybody because it is pretty difficult to juggle 2 kids and any kind of work. But, if you're determined to do it, I believe you can do it.
How old are your kids now?
They're 10 and 12.
Tucker
is 12. Okay. Macy is 10.
Awesome. So when did you get into fitness? Because the timeline that I see here is you left law, you started the side gig, which was Advocare.
It was Advocare, which is no longer a business in that sense, but it was at the time, and I loved the products. I had a passion for the products, and it was just kind of natural to share them, and so I'm glad there was an opportunity connected to that.
So when did you really get into fitness and dedicating yourself to fitness and making a go at that?
Well, that company was a health and wellness supplement company, and I wanted to have a story that I could share. And so I used the products to lose weight after I had Macy and, kind of trim up and lean out and all of those kinds of things. But it was interesting that part of that company's process is developing leadership skills. And I heard an author, his name is John Acuff, and he had a book called Start. And I joined what was called at the time the Start Project. And so it was just people who were interested in making a change in their life or going after their goals, that kind of personal growth type of stuff. And one of our assignments at the very beginning was, what is that one thing on your bucket list that you want to do so badly? And it's just one of those things that you would never think that you would actually be able to do, but it's something in the back of your mind that you always thought would be really cool to be able to do. And I thought, well, this is totally off base and crazy, but I want to be a fitness model. Like I want to be, on Oxygen magazine or something like that. And
it's a lofty goal.
Saying it now, I'm like, that's insane. But he just wanted us to put that far-fetched dream out there. And so I wrote it down. I was like, okay. And the next step was find somebody who's done what you want to do. Who is that? And research what they did to be able to do that. And so I found Jamie Eason, who was a fitness model and fitness competitor, and somebody I highly looked up to. And then our next assignment, after we researched it and turned in our research and all that kind of stuff, was, okay, now go and do what they did. And I went, what?
Is that where Try Fitness Worlds
yeah,
comes in?
well, sort of. So that's when I kind of, thought, okay, I'm going to go look into this. And so what she did to get into the fitness modeling industry was she started competing in fitness. And that's when I started competing in the WBFF. So that was really my first jump into the fitness industry. And then after I did that a couple of times, I decided I wanted something a little more objective rather than subjective, which is when I started competing in obstacle course competitions.
And that's the Try Fitness Worlds?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, tell me about that. Because that's, I know guys that do CrossFit, and, you see the Ninja Warrior on TV and, all these incredible feats of strength and agility that these people, that's what you got yourself into?
Well, kind of.
Okay.
Everybody says I should go an American Ninja Warrior, and I'm just way too scared of heights.
That's what I have in my head when I sit here and I look at, Try Fitness Worlds. What is that?
It is a competition that's held every year in Tampa, Florida. A guy named Al Rosen runs that competition, and he is actually Dwayne Johnson's godfather.
Okay.
So he's very highly connected, in the wrestling world, and he's just a great human being. But he has run this for 25 years, a very long time. I don't know the exact number. But the competition essentially is 7 different events. You have a fitness routine you can do that's optional. It's the dance with the push-ups and the splits and all those things. There is a bench press competition. There is a box jump competition. There is a shuttle run competition. Where you're timed on all of these things, and so it's a very objective competition. There's also a grace and physique, which is more like your fitness competition that you'd see, like a bikini competition.
Yeah.
And then there are 2 obstacle courses. One is a traditional obstacle course, and the other is a true grit course that really, by the end of it, you are just gutting it out.
And you do all of these, or you kind of pick and choose?
You can pick and choose, but I did all of them.
Of course you did. Which was the hardest one, or which one gave you the most trouble?
Man, they are all hard in different ways, for sure. I would say the bench press was very difficult to train for, only because a perfect score is to bench press 60% of your body weight 50 times. So while it starts out being pretty light, ultimately, when you start training for that, you can press it maybe 18, 20 times and you're fatigued. And so you have to train to get up to 50. I think the highest I ever got was 43. And, it's one of those things where you want to be light when you get to the competition. So you're dieting, but you also want to stay strong. And, you want your weight to be lighter so that 60% is less by the time you get there.
How long did it take you to prepare? Once you said, okay, I'm going to go do this down in Florida, how long did it take you to get ready for that?
We did 12-week trainings. If you train any more than 12 weeks, you're going to burn out or hit your peak too soon. So you start doing track workouts and sports-specific workouts about 12 weeks out.
Okay. How did you do while you were there? Like, being your first competition? Like, were you happy leaving?
The first year I got a participation award. And I was just happy to be there. I was happy to be in the same room with those kinds of athletes. It was such a wonderful experience. And I knew after that first year that I wanted to come back and see how much I could improve the next year. So, of course, I went back for year 2 and ended up, beating all of my times and all of my numbers from the year before. It was completely amazing how much I improved by like 13 seconds on some things. And I was very impressed with myself, obviously. But when you train like that, with that in mind, over the course of a year, you do make some significant improvements. And then, so that next year I made, I believe I made top 20 and everything. And then the third year I went back, I was top 10, and there were over 200 athletes there. And I was able to make the top 10 overall. So each year you successfully got a
little bit better.
Yes, it is
and you
amazing.
made top 10 the third year?
I did.
Nice.
I did. It was very exciting.
I bet. Yeah. Out of how many? So is this a male and female?
It's male and female. And so there are usually around 200, maybe 250 athletes total at the competition. And
is it global or national event?
It's global. I know there's a lady that comes from Sweden or Switzerland every
Mm.
year. So yes, it's international.
Nice. So you go 3 years worth of Tri Fitness Worlds,
Mhm.
and then you get into World Beauty Fashion Fitness.
Well, so the WEFF was before and after Try Fitness.
Okay, that was
So
your first one.
yes,
Okay,
yes, and then I ended up going back because ultimately the health and wellness company I was with changed a lot about the way they did business, and so I went to a new company. And as part of that new company, I met a guy named Peter Nielsen, who is former Mr. Universe. He has over 50 bodybuilding titles. He is just a powerhouse, and he was willing to work with me to prepare for another WBFF show. And of course, if I'm with a new product, I want to show that it works
yeah,
too. So I used those products in my prep and was able to show up after not competing, for 6 years
yeah.
in that particular category. Was able to really lean out with his help and ended up placing second in two separate categories. I was the only athlete that placed in two different categories:
What were the categories?
fitness and bikini.
Okay,
So bikini needs a softer physique, and fitness needs more definition.
yeah.
I don't know how I placed second in both, and I don't know how I was the only athlete that placed in both, but was very, very pleased at age 43 to do that.
I bet.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you about nerves or nervousness or getting out there in front of people, in front of the nation and world. Were you uncomfortable at the start with any of that?
So I think that sometimes people are born with an ability to just shake that off.
Hmm.
Of course, it's nerve wracking. You want to perform your best.
Yeah,
And you do get nervous, and some people just have the ability to forget that as soon as they walk out on stage.
yep.
I'm not one of those people.
Me neither.
And I'm sweating before I go out there, but I pray
Yeah.
every single time and it works. I mean, the Holy Spirit just loves us
Hmm.
so much, and he doesn't want us to be uncomfortable. And
It's a calm. It's a deep breath out.
he wants us to understand that the Lord made us perfectly in every way, and it's our job to show the earth his creation. I mean, that's such a good thing to understand and remember, is that we are all who we are, and he loves every single one of us. And if we
Absolutely.
can just remember that we are royalty to him, we are his children.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. And so
Right.
my whole goal was to show people how amazing God's creation is and how we can use the foods he gave us and the bodies he gave us and just make something amazing. And I don't know, with discipline and prayer and the right foods and, you know,
Support.
using your physical being
Mhm.
to make those improvements and just kind of show how amazing his creation is. That to me is very thrilling.
That's awesome that's how you use that to
Yes.
for the motivation and for the confidence and for, just getting out there and doing it for that reason.
Well, you know what? I think about when my kids practice for things and then they go and perform whatever it is, or if they
Mhm.
study for a test and then they, get that grade on the test. I think of how proud I am of them and of
Mhm.
their effort. And I know that's how God feels when I put in
Absolutely.
my best effort. So it just makes me excited for him to be
I
so proud
can't
of
wait
me.
to look at it like that from this point forward because I've never made that connection right there, but absolutely looking at your kid doing something really does make you proud.
Yes.
Um,
That's how he feels about you.
yeah.
That's how he feels about this podcast. He is so proud of you for doing this.
Oh, well, I'm glad, and hopefully, we can use this to kind of, glorify him and help others, reach him and help him to reach others.
Yes. Yes. That is the purpose.
Yep, I like it. So let's go ahead and have a Mrs. Mississippi discussion.
Okay.
You are Mrs. Mississippi America.
I am.
How did that happen?
Well, the short version is I'm not a pageant person,
Mhm.
but my husband is. So that third year that I competed in Tri Fitness Worlds, of course, I was on my way back for the fourth year. And my husband has been telling me for 10 years at this point that I needed to do a pageant. And I kept saying, no, I don't want to. No. And he finally one night talked me into doing a pageant. And it was that third year of Tri Fitness Worlds that I ended up competing for Mrs. Mississippi America Mrs. Mississippi United States the year after that in 2018.
Because it's two separate things.
It is.
Okay.
There are several different organizations for misses to compete. I have competed in the United States organization and the America organization. I don't know if that's okay to do in pageantry. I assume it is, but nobody's ever told me I'm, not supposed to. So I did.
Still doing
And so when I competed for Mrs. Mississippi United States, it was really just kind of a midpoint goal so that I could stay fit and prepared to start training for tri fitness for the 4th year. Well, I ended up winning Mrs. Mississippi United States and had nationals that summer.
What year was that?
It was 2018.
2018.
Yep.
Where?
Nationals was in Orlando, Florida.
Okay.
Yep. So I couldn't train for both. I couldn't have the physique I needed for United States and perform well at tri fitness. I just couldn't do it. So I went to Mrs. United States that summer. It was a lot of fun. It was over 4th of July weekend. And it was a great
It
experience.
seems like such a small difference in body type from physique to fitness, or from Mrs. Mississippi and the fitness aspect of it.
Right. Well, the fitness stuff that I do, that I compete in, is larger muscularity and more definition.
Okay.
And when you are in pageants, the United States system actually does gravitate towards that more defined fit look. America likes much more feminine physiques. So the shape that I was in 2018 was not a good fit for the America system.
So is that
at
what
that
leads
time.
some women to do one or the other?
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was on mine. It was just the consideration of that pageant was right then when we were looking at pageants to sign up for.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I landed in the United States system.
So when going between the body type that you need for one or the other, how does your workouts or your diet change?
It changes pretty significantly. When you are training for strength and performance, those are the things that you're doing. You're doing lots of sprints, lots of hurdles, lots of lifting, lots of explosive movements, and you really do build some mass and bolder shoulders and things like that. And that's the physique that I prefer. But when you are doing something like Mrs. America, you don't want to have those types of. It's just a very feminine, motherly type of
more elegant
person. Yes, that they're looking for. Yes, elegance. That's really what they want to see. And so there's a lot more cardio, a lot less lifting, a lot less calories, things like that. And it's not necessarily that I wanted to change who I was, but I did not want to go and not make my best effort to be what I know that they're looking for. So,
well, yeah, if you know what's going to be on a test, you're going to study that or do that. So
that's exactly right. And it's always a challenge, to be able to manipulate your physique like that, to me, is so very interesting and a lot of fun. I know a lot of people don't find it fun to do those kinds of things, but I love the process of getting somewhere. So being on the stage at nationals wasn't really what I was excited about. What I was excited about is to see how I could go through this process and change my physique successfully. And also develop my speaking skills and my interview skills and really just kind of polish, everything to get there. And then once you get there and you have the event, all the hard work is done.
Right.
And the hard work is the part that I like.
The getting there.
Yes.
Okay. Well, congratulations on Mrs. Mississippi America.
Thank you.
Very welcome. All right, so let's get into your current venture, which is coaching with faster way to fat loss.
Yes, I love it. I absolutely love it.
So what are you doing with that?
Well, I discovered it when I was preparing for Mrs. Mississippi America. I had just competed at the end of 2019 in the fitness competition where I placed second in both categories. And after that, I enjoyed myself, over Christmas and New Year's and Valentine's Day and all of those things. And so I put some goo on that I really needed to be gone. And so my normal methods of leaning out didn't seem to be working as quickly as I'm used to them working, which is just getting back on healthy eating and all that kind of stuff. It just wasn't really making a dent. And I saw my friend Donna Harris, who is a very highly respected trainer in the area. She was coaching faster way to fat loss. And so I reached out to her and said, I've seen this program before. Do you think it will help me? Here's what's going on. And she said, yes, absolutely. It will help you. So I hopped on that program to prepare. I leaned out. I needed to lose, 5 or 6 pounds, and I was able to do that. I could tell it was body fat, and, it was a great program. It was all the things that I've always coached clients to do, but just not all at the same time like that. It's brilliant, and it was very successful for me. So then I decided to get certified to coach, and
Be a
I've been
part of
doing
it.
that about a year.
So what wound up being the deciding factor between from what you couldn't lose what you needed to lose, or with everything, what wound up being the thing that made it work, that made you get to where you needed to be?
Well, it's a combination of things. It's based on whole food nutrition, so it encourages the client to choose whole, healthy foods, things that are not processed. Basically, if it came from the ground or had a mother, it's fair game. And I think that that really opens up people's minds as far as there aren't any bad foods, but you do need to be looking at the things that God gave us to
Mhm.
eat, primarily as your fuel source. And once you do that, once you're feeding your body things with lots of micronutrients and things that your body actually needs, rather than just processed sugar and chemicals
Yeah.
and things like that, man-made chemicals, it really changes the way your body responds to food. So it also teaches you how to count macros, which is a very daunting thing for a lot of people to hear. They're like, "Oh, I don't know how to do that." But it teaches people step by step how to do that. And when you have a calorie goal, you can meet your calorie goal with horrible foods,
Yeah.
and your body just does not respond as well as if you are meeting your calorie goal with good proteins,
Yeah.
a good amount of carbohydrates, and a healthy amount of fats. And it just really, the way your body responds to that is just amazing. It is amazing.
So this seems like a good fit for you with what you're doing as far as, selling. Or what I want to get into is how you sell yourself, or basically, what are the steps you take, or how do you go about selling yourself and the products that you believe in?
Well, it's interesting because I don't think about that really.
Yeah.
I think that when people feel like you're selling anything,
Mhm.
even if it's yourself, they get a vibe, you know?
Right.
They it's a little bit cringy, I guess. And if you're just really a genuine person
Mhm.
and you are sharing things that you genuinely use and
Yeah.
like, people will trust you a lot more because you're not lying.
Right.
You're not trying to sell them
And
something.
you
You're
can
just
tell and hear genuineness.
yes.
So the reason I asked you that question is because with what I do and what anybody does, you're selling yourself at all times. Now you might not be pitchy, like, hey,
Right.
I'm the best at this, or you not necessarily salesy, but there's tons of people out there that do what I do, but what I think the things that I bring to the table are better suited for my clients' needs,
Mhm.
than maybe going with an agency
Sure.
or something like that.
Yep.
So that's kind of why I asked is, you do a really good job of giving advice, or giving, I guess, because you try them first. So you try
Mhm.
these supplements, you figure out what are the benefits, what are the negatives, and then if the benefits outweigh the negatives,
That's right.
you're gonna let your people know.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Well, I only share things that I feel like it's rude not to tell people that. Do you know what I mean? Like
So say it again.
it's helping me so much that I feel like it's rude not to tell people.
Okay, I like that.
So that's kind of
They
my
really are missing out if they don't do
yes.
this.
Yes, because I can't sell something I don't believe in anyway. So
Right.
I've never felt like I've sold anything.
Right.
I I don't feel like a salesman
Hmm.
type person. But I do know that I walk the walk kind of.
Hmm.
And I hate to say things like that because I feel so
Well,
I walk
people
the
know
walk,
that you
but
do, and they know that you would not recommend this without having tried it and found success in it yourself.
and I try to keep that reputation. And there have been a couple of bobbles here and there, just things that I have decided to help friends start,
Hmm.
and it ended up not being the best fit for me, and
Yeah.
so I very quietly just withdrew
Yeah.
from those particular products. And I don't know, I just feel like my gut lights on fire when I get something in my hands that I know is going to be amazing. And when you are on fire for something, it's very difficult to put a blanket over
To
it.
be quiet about it.
Yes,
Yeah.
I just can't. And I think people feel that. They
Mhm.
feel that I really truly do believe in this stuff, and it's okay if they don't.
So I want to know, one of my favorite things about what I do with brand development is getting with a new company that they have a name, they know what color they like, but they don't have a logo, they don't have a brand identity. And so when I get to, in the ground floor of these things, I get to help them plot out and lay out their identity. What are the things that make your business your business? What makes it different than the other businesses, than your competitors that have been here for 10 or 15 years? So give me 3 things that make Whitney, Whitney. What is your brand identity?
So, first and foremost, I'm a mom. I think that my whole purpose on this earth was to have these two particular children.
Mhm.
I think that God led me to have the idea of law school out of the clear blue sky because he needed me to come to Jackson so that I could meet Lee, so that we could have these two kids.
That's
I think
awesome.
they're going to change the world. I really do. Both of them.
Well, they got a good head start.
Oh man, they're the best. Anyway, so that would be thing number one
Mhm.
of my branding. I am a mother first and foremost, and every single choice I make on a daily basis, I am very aware that they are learning
Mhm.
from that choice, whether it's good or whether it's bad.
Mhm.
So it's important to me to provide that example for them because they're going to do what I do, not what I say.
Right.
So that's a big thing for me. The next part of who I am is going to be the fitness industry.
Mhm.
I'm not a huge name in the fitness industry, but I sure do love it.
Yeah.
I
It's a big part
really
of who
do.
you are.
It really is. And I think it's just because I find so much joy
Mhm.
in the process. And I find so much joy in accomplishing a goal that I've set forth physically because it is amazing to see how you start in one spot and then you work on something and you get so much stronger.
Yeah.
And those times when you're uncomfortable, I have in the past couple of years just come to really enjoy being uncomfortable. I mean,
Mhm.
nobody likes burpees, but they're uncomfortable. And now I can do a ton of them
Yeah.
in a row. Somebody asked me to do 30 seconds of burpees, chest to ground. I'm like,
Easy.
no problem. And, 2 years ago, I would have said, oh, well, I'm going to die,
Yeah.
you know? And it's just amazing to see how much you can develop
Mhm.
even at an old age,
Yeah.
if you're willing to be consistent and work on it. And then, the third facet, I guess, of Whitney is my passion to help the homeless community. I, a long time ago, had some issues medically that were very difficult. And I involuntarily was starving and withering away. It was very difficult medical condition that
Mhm.
we don't have to go into, but it was a major struggle for a long time for me. And so I know what it's like. I know what it does to your brain and I know what it does to your body
Mhm.
to go hungry. Um, Again, it was not because I didn't have food to eat, it was because I
Right.
could not eat it. But there are people that are starving,
Because they don't have food.
yes, daily here in
Mhm.
our area. And I don't know, God laid it on my heart a long time ago, but then he validated it through my kids because we were on our way home from New Orleans one weekend and they had seen, homeless people on the sidewalk and they would say hello to us and, ask for money or whatever. And on the way home, the kids said, what was the deal with those people? And I said, well, they don't have homes.
Yeah.
They live out there and they wanted to start taking action to change that. And they asked how they could help the people in New Orleans. And I said, well, guys, we have people right here in the Jackson area that are going through the same thing. Do you want to start to help? And that's when we started the Provision Project,
Yep.
where, they have done fundraising drives, they've done food drives, they've done toiletry supply drives, water drives, all kinds of things to just donate to places like We Will Go Ministries and Shower Power and different things that we have in the area.
That's awesome. So let's go ahead and jump into the giving back. What are some of the local charities that you work with, or that if anybody's sitting here listening to this, thinking about wanting to give, or how can they get involved with something? What are some local um, organizations that they can reach out to?
Oh my goodness, there are so many great ones. So many great ones. We have Stew Pot in Jackson that's feeding the homeless. There's Extra Table that is based in Hattiesburg. That is their mission is very close to my heart because they not only want to provide food for the under impoverished population, but they also want to make sure that food is whole food, healthy food, not just
They're not just filling up bellies.
no,
Yeah,
they are nourishing,
yeah.
and it is such an amazing ministry. If you have not heard of Extra Table, please Google them. They are doing amazing things. We have also worked with Shower Power in the past, which is a mobile shower truck that is in downtown Jackson once a week.
Brittany's super interested in that.
She needs to go one Friday. Yep, they're out there every single Friday, and this truck, you know how they'll outfit a truck to be a food truck? Well, they have done a shower truck. There's an actual shower, and so the homeless can come to the same location every single week. They feed them lunch. They visit with them. They pray with them. You know, there's music. It's just like fellowship out there, and they all take turns showering, and they even give them a fresh set of clothes when they're done. It is incredible, and people donate suitcases and backpacks for them so they can have stuff to carry their belongings in. And when it was very cold, they did a drive to help them stay in hotel rooms when it was so dangerously cold this winter. It is just the most amazing thing I have ever seen. And, you know, we haven't been out there since last year because when school starts, it's hard for the kids to be out there and things got busy. And I have been in my heart longing to go back out there and just haven't made it out yet. But I'm telling you, that is one of the most rewarding places I've ever volunteered. And that's actually how we met our dog, Chicken Nugget.
Chicken Nugget.
I know you want to talk about Chicken Nugget. I almost brought him.
Oh my gosh, that would have been. So we have a new puppy at home too, Betty. I would have loved for you to brought him. I don't think we would have gotten much done.
No, he would have been right here.
And we would have actually probably got everything done. He's so good, huh?
He is a sweet boy, but he does like attention from me. We're kind of a team. You know, Australian Shepherds view themselves and their owners as a team. So when I leave him at home too much, if I don't take him with me pretty often, he gets a little bit irritated. So he'll
Am I not on the team anymore?
My favorite book or a shoe or something. But he wants to be my teammate. And so he is amazing. And the way I met him, we were volunteering at Shower Power on Friday, and Mississippi Therapy Animals came out with several of their animals. There was a lamb named Vanilla Milkshake. She had several different animals, but the Vanilla Milkshake is who we really remember because my son Tucker, he's 12 now.
A lamb.
Vanilla Milkshake let Tucker hug him for 5 solid minutes, just laid on his shoulder. And Tucker is a hugger. His love language is physical touch. He needs to hug, and he needs to hug a lot. And this little lamb just like laid on his shoulder. And I thought, we have to volunteer there. Like, we have to go to this place. And so I talked to Katrina Miller, who is fantastic. And she let us come out to the next volunteer night. And that's where we met Chicken Nugget. And she observed us with the animals. And she said, you know, I don't let my best dogs go with very many people, but we do foster out some of our animals sometimes to help with medical costs and feeding and all of those sorts of things. Would y'all be willing to foster Chicken Nugget? So, of course, we were immediately like, yes, but we had to ask my husband. So on the way home, it was a 30, 45 minute drive.
So you didn't just show up with him?
No, we didn't. Tucker wrote a speech. So we got home at probably 8:30 that night. Tucker took a shower and put a suit on and did a 5-minute presentation to my husband, his dad, about why we needed to adopt Chicken Nugget. And the next day, we adopted Chicken Nugget. So he is now part of our family, and I've been certified to handle him at things. So we've done several. The COVID is hard because hospitals don't let you in right now. But we've done virtual visits with the patients, and as soon as hospitals open back up, my dream is to go to Batson and volunteer and bring Chicken Nugget to the hospital rooms to visit the kids, because there's just nothing like it. Even the virtual visits that we've done, the kids are just so overjoyed to spend that time with an animal. Animals bring out something in people that other people just can't bring out. So I love that volunteer opportunity so very much.
That sounds awesome.
Yes, it is. Dogs are the best.
Dogs are the best. So how have you defined success over the years? You know, from starting out, you know, in college, going through law school, practicing law, then getting into fitness. This is Mississippi. How do you define success, and has that changed at all over the years?
I think it changes with every goal that I set. It's definitely not something the definition of success is not static. It's all dependent on what's going on.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So for me, you know, of course, when it concerns my kids, my definition of success is they love Jesus. That's the whole goal for them. If they end up, you know, dropping out of college and, you know, all that kind of stuff, that's not going to define them, but their love for God is.
Right.
And that's really what I want to instill in them, not only by what we're talking about and what we're teaching them, but also what we are doing as parents. because again, they're going to do what we do and not what we say. So
Right.
we've got to provide that example. So getting right with God myself was a very important part of that process.
Mhm.
And then, as far as Mrs. Mississippi and all of those kinds of things, my definition of success there is not winning.
Right.
And that surprised a lot of people in my life when they asked if I was disappointed that I didn't, that I was first runner up to Mrs. United States, or was I disappointed that I only made top 15 at Mrs. America? No, I wasn't disappointed because that's not where I was placing my hopes.
Right.
Where I was placing my hopes is, did I bring the best version of Whitney Gladden? That is the definition of success. It's not about, who wore a better dress that day or what the judge ate for breakfast and
Yeah.
maybe his tummy was hurting when I came out. I don't know what's going on with them.
Right.
I can't define myself based on somebody else's thoughts. I can only define my success based on what I can do
Mhm.
and what kind of effort I put in. If I know that I put in my best effort, that is success regardless of the outcome.
Right. So, how do you go about navigating your work and your fitness goals with your family and life goals? With me, it's hard because I work from home, and it's my day doesn't end at 5 o'clock sometimes, and but knowing the importance of being there and being present, and making time for that. How did you go about doing that, and are you happy with where you're at now with it?
I'm pretty happy with where I am because I've gotten really good at the art of Tetris. Basically, my day, every day, looks like a game of Tetris where I'm just kind of fitting things in
Mm.
where they fall. So I don't have blocks of time. I don't block off an hour for my business. I don't, I will block off 45 minutes for a workout
Mhm.
because you can't stop in the middle of your workout. But maybe during the rest break, I might be texting somebody back about something,
Mm.
But everything just kind of fits in where it lands.
Mhm.
And at the end of the day, somehow it all gets accomplished. I have a list, I know it's got to be done that day. And it may be after the kids go to bed, I'm on the computer for 30 minutes or so
Yeah.
doing some data entry or what have you. But it all seems to get done. And it's funny that the busier I am, the more I can get done. If I only have a couple of things to do,
Mhm.
they don't ever get done somehow.
I
I
feel you.
always find the fun things that are more of a priority. But if I have a lot of things to do in one day, they all get done
Yeah.
pretty well. I think if, like they say, if you want something done, ask a busy person to do it.
True. They'll find the easiest way to do it.
That's right. And they'll fit it in the little bit of time that they have. And that seems to be my modus operandi.
So to wrap this up, what would you say to someone that has the opportunity to pursue a passion, but is having trouble pulling the trigger?
Oh my goodness. Don't wait until you're ready. Just go. Just fire.
Just go at it.
Yes. Yes. Because that's the thing. I am super famous for just saying yes and then figuring it out when I get
Shoot first,
going.
ask questions later.
Yes, that's right. And I don't know if that's the best way to do things, but it seems to be the most effective. Because if I thought about it too much
Mhm.
before I said yes, I would say no.
Yeah.
So if it excites me in my heart, I just say okay,
Yeah.
and then figure it out on the back end. Because ultimately, I'm not going to quit.
Right.
That's the thing about me that I know about myself is that if I commit to something, it's highly unlikely that I'm going to quit.
Well, one of the words that you've brought up before is unstoppable.
Mhm.
Is that kind of encapsulate everything that you're talking about? Is you're not going to quit and you're not going to be stopped?
I think that's probably accurate. I don't know that I'm like superwoman, unstoppable, and there's certainly things that could stop me, like injury or illness. But as far as driving
But if
towards
you were
something,
hurt, you would find something that you could do while injured.
well, that's correct. Lots of things I do I can do while injured, or I would just not use that injured limb. I don't know, but it would be very difficult
Yeah.
to stop me if I had my mind set on
Right.
something. Now, is everything on earth that important to me? No, but I do have certain things that I've committed to in my heart that I will accomplish. And part of that is just writing down my vision. A great friend of mine, her name is Sam, she sent me a gift that is called the 5 Minute Journal. And every morning I sit down and it takes me about 5 minutes to write what I'm grateful for, what would make today amazing. And just little notes about things that I might want to accomplish like long-term goals. And then there's another little section at the bottom of the page. At the end of the day, you sit down for a couple of minutes and you write, name 3 amazing things that happened today. And you write those down. And then what are a couple of things that could have made today better? And it's usually, I should have followed up with so-and-so, or, whatever, something I've put off till the next day. And it's great for me to sort of stay on track with what I'm doing and celebrate the good things that are going on, because those are the things you tend to forget. When somebody tells you you're pretty, well, you don't remember that. You remember the person that said, "What's wrong with your hair?" Right. You know what I mean? And so it helps you focus on the positive rather than the negative, but also move towards self-improvement or growth.
And that's what it's all about. And that's what my podcast is about, is growth, learning from failures and making a way forward with what I hope winds up being a collection of very successful people failures. Because that's one way that I've found that I learn the best, is hearing where other people messed up. So thank you for coming on here today with me, and I've enjoyed it. I've learned some stuff, and I'm definitely going to look into the 5-minute journal. But I hope that anybody listening has taken some positives away from what you said and uses your message as an opportunity to grow themselves.
Well, thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it.
You're very welcome. Congratulations on all of your achievements, and best of luck in the future.
Thank you.
You're welcome.